Number two is to jump to the next curve. This is about perspective. Great innovation, great disruption, great entrepreneurship occurs because you got to the next curve or you created the next curve, not because you made the same curve better. And speaking of see-through, I love this concept of getting to the next curve and maps, and I'm going to show you two examples. The first example is ice. There was an ice harvesting business, early 1900s. Bubba and Junior would go out to a frozen lake or a frozen pond, cut blocks of ice. 30 years later, there's an ice factory curve. Now, it didn't have to be winter. It didn't have to be a cold city. You could have an ice factory in Dallas. You could not have ice harvesting in Dallas. Another 30 years go by, and finally we have the refrigerator curve. This is even better because now you have your own ice factory. You have a personal chiller, a PC, if you will. The interesting historical fact is that none of the ice harvesters became ice factories, and none of the ice factories became refrigerator companies, because most companies define themselves in terms of what they already do, as opposed to the benefit they provide. You've got to get to the next curve. Think of maps, paper map. You saw an example. You saw a paper map here in the first company, right? So that was map 1.0, better than papyrus, but still paper. Map 2.0 is now this digital map on our phones, much better. But really, the action gets very interesting with Waze, and this is map 3.0. So if you dissect this map, this is a map of the Bay Area. I live in the upper left-hand corner. I'm trying to get to the lower right corner. I'm trying to go from Menlo Park and Palo Alto to Santa Cruz. The typical path is 85 to 17. Waze is telling me that there's a lot of traffic on 17 because other Waze users are stuck there. So don't go 85 to 17. Go 85 to Winchester, to Los Gatos, and there get on 17. This is why I asked See-Through about, can you give me a product that shows me where the long lines are? Because other people using the same app are stuck in that line. That's what I want to avoid. Map 1.0, Map 2.0, Map 3.0, ice harvesting, ice factory, refrigerator. Get to the next curve. This is the slide that should scare the shit out of all of you. This is a slide that says, we define our business as the chemical business. We put chemicals on film. We put chemicals on paper. Ergo, we do not embrace digital photography. Kodak arguably invented digital photography, but if you define yourself as being in the chemicals business, you don't embrace the digital photography business. What those two companies at the top should have done is define their business as, we are in the business of preserving memories. We can preserve memories with chemicals on film, chemicals on paper, or sensors. It should not matter if you're preserving memories, whether you're using chemicals on paper, chemicals on film, or digital sensors. Just as if you're an ice harvester, ice factory, or refrigerator company, if you define yourself as we're in the cleanliness and convenience business, it should not matter if we're harvesting ice, freezing ice centrally in a factory, or building refrigerators. Get to the next curve. The bottom, if you define yourself as a dedicated word processor, you don't embrace computers. Certainly, if you define yourself as we're a typewriter company, you don't embrace the computer business. This is the curve. This is the scary. This is the death slide. You never, ever want to be on this slide. Get to the next curve.